Good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking an hour out of your day to discuss maybe some of the most important things in real estate. I believe the most important thing, which is your mindset. So my name is Garrett, and I've been selling real estate for 4 years. Got a family, 2 young daughters, a wife, born and raised in this area. And I love the flexibility that real estate provides me. What I want to talk about today, what I want to start by talking about is how do we build a relationship with our goals? Hi.
Hello.
How do we build a relationship with those goals? What are the things in life that are most important to me? Right? And whatever we identify, I'm going to give you some examples on what resonates with me. I find that the more vivid that picture can be on these hopes and dreams, the more likely it is that I'm going to achieve them. I have to build a relationship with my goals. It was very hard at the beginning when I came into real estate and everyone was like, what is your big why? They wanted one reason why I was selling real estate. And I had a hard time with that question. For probably 4 years, I tumbled that question around. And finally, over the last year, I've identified the areas in my life that are most important to me, which are right here, right? My family, my business, my income, my spiritual development, my relationships with others, my fitness or health. I'm going to say income twice because it's important. And what are my dream buys? What do I want to buy? What are some goals that I want to use that income for? Because the money's only good for the good the money can do. And when I build a relationship between why I want to make that money and what I'm going to do with it, I'm more likely to take action. Right. So what I do is I sit down and I write about family and what's important to me about having a family and what are things that we do together that bring me joy. And I close my eyes and I think about it and I visualize it. You know, in life, when I feel joy, when I feel happiness, when I feel love, what am I doing? What am I experiencing? Because the stronger that connection is between my heart and my brain, the more easy it's going to be to access those good feelings, right? So I take each one of these categories and I read it. I read what I wrote every day. And I spend probably 15 minutes with it, thinking about it, building a relationship with it. Because that purpose, the stronger it is, the more action I'm going to take. And it's, the law of, what is the law?
Attraction.
The law of attraction, thank you. And I'm gonna get those things. But if I don't spend any time with them, I haven't built enough reason to do the things that I'm gonna have to do, because your success is kind of, I believe it's predicated on 2 things in real estate. It's about fighting off the boredom of doing the same thing day after day after day after day. Because that needs to be done in order to build long-term success. And then it's understanding what are the things that I do that yield the greatest return. So that 80-20 rule, understanding that 20% of the activities I do are going to yield 80% of the results. And then focusing in on how you're going to use those 20% and do more, spend more time there. Get better results, get more results in less time. Okay. So building relationships with your goals. Let's just look at October. And if you're online and you want to jump in and share anything, go ahead and just unmute yourself. We'd love to hear from you. But the question I have for everybody is, do you have an October goal? And it doesn't have to be real estate related. It can be in any area of your life that's important to you. Like my relationship goal is that my wife and I go on one date a week without our kids. And that's important to me. That's important to my marriage. Okay, so that's my goal there. Right? If anybody, I'd love to hear from you guys. Do you have a goal for October? Real estate or otherwise?
So my goal is to kind of drop these pumpkins off in my neighborhood and close one deal. Like, I'm leaving for vacation end of October, so I really, really want to close something before I leave.
Okay, thank you. Now, in terms of closings and making money, I don't really have. I can't script out activities that's gonna get me a closing. I can script out activities that are gonna get me closer. So I choose to focus on appointments rather than closings, because I can't make somebody buy or sell. So try to focus on the activities around what's gonna get you somebody into contract. Like, if you have 10 conversations a day, that will get you closer, right?
I'm kind of getting there to kind of
Yeah,
reach my goal.
yeah, no, I like that. I think your pumpkin goal, focus on that. How many people, and what is the desired outcome for delivering those pumpkins? Contact information, furthering relationships, sending thank you cards.
And basically visibility in the neighborhood.
That's it. That's it. So if I'm gonna drop 100 pumpkins, I should get 10 people's contact information. October goal.
My October goal is to build my sphere. I need to definitely get more people to talk to. I've got a lot of vendors and mortgage brokers and real estate service folks in my database, but I need more just people. So my goal is to, one, get more organized, trying to get all my ducks in a row. And it would be nice to come out of October feeling more prepared and having a bigger database for you to work with.
So what I hear is focus on how many conversations you're gonna have each day.
Yes, yeah.
And what are you bringing to the conversation?
I'm trying to bring some value, sort of what we were talking about earlier. If I can bring people, how to solve their problems, whether they're downsizing or coming up with a down payment rather than renting, then that puts me ahead of the game.
Absolutely. Yeah. Be the resource, right? Get permission to be the resource for people that already know you. If someone already knows you, there's a greater likelihood that they're gonna allow you to be that resource for them. And then it just comes down to, am I asking for permission to stay in contact with them? Anybody else? October goal? Yes.
I definitely want to have one closing, but I want to have at least 2 appointments per week. That could be showings or, buyer consultations or, listing appointment.
Good. So I challenge everybody, when you set a goal, get very clear on what it is, right? Because in my world, a showing is not an appointment. An appointment is an appointment. An appointment is an opportunity where we're gonna discuss buying, selling, or investing in real estate, and I'm gonna learn more about you. And an appointment comes with a close. There should be a close to an appointment because I need to measure whether that was successful or not.
Can you expand on closing an appointment for me?
Closing the appointment.
Isn't closing the deal and.
Are you ready to get started today? We've talked about your needs as a buyer. We've talked about your needs as a seller or an investor. Hey, are you ready to get, after we've talked and I learn about what you're trying to accomplish? Hey, are you ready to get started? Here's what's next. So am I closing for the business? So I now have you as a client. Have you agreed to work with me? All right, when we talk about a daily mindset exercise, I do my reading, I'm building my relationship with the things that are important to me. I'm visualizing them, I'm thinking about them, I'm drawing them closer. And these are some things that you can write about on a daily basis and say out loud, right? What am I grateful for? It's very easy to think about the things that we're not getting. Sometimes it's hard to remember, like I have a roof over my head, I have a car to drive, I have clean clothes, I have food in I have things in my life that I am grateful for. An affirmation. My favorite affirmation is just I am enough, right? I'm enough the way that I am, the friends that I have, the relationships I have, like, it's good. Successes. This can be a lonely business. Who's celebrating your successes? You know, we talked the other day about a buyer who had come to a place where you're now showing them homes. But do you take it, it's not a paycheck yet, right? Take a minute and pat yourself on the back, because you're a step closer. Right? If you're only celebrating getting people under contracts and closings, you feel like a failure, what, 360 days out of the year? And you feel good 5.
I celebrate giving out a business card.
Celebrate yourself, right? Yes. Yeah, and find cheerleaders in your life, right, that will tell you you're doing a good job. Whether you find them here at the office, or you have them at home, or hopefully you have them in both places, you know, recognize that you are growing. Because you're either gonna grow or you're gonna go. You don't get to not grow in this business and continue to build a bigger and bigger business. It's just not the way it works. And intention, what is your intention? Set a very clear intention. If your intention is to get up and to talk to 10 people, I intend to talk to 10 people about real estate today. And go out there and achieve it, right? And the more days that I put together where I'm drawing this stuff closer to me, the more confident I feel, the more successful the conversations I'm having become, and the bigger impact I can make. Okay? And then whether you're a spiritual person or a prayer person, maybe you're a meditation person, I like to take a nature bath. You know, that's what I call it, 1 day a week, where I go out to nature by myself and I spend 30 minutes plus out there, right? Whether I go for a hike, whether I go to the beach, sometimes I just go and sit at the park. But I make sure that I have some time to connect with myself and connect to nature, right? Because that's important to me. Find things that fill your cup. So action items around goals. So we've got things that Keller Williams uses, like a 411 and a GPS. These are all models to bring us closer to our goals. When I write a goal, my goal is to have 8 appointments in October. Okay, that's great. But what are the 3 to 5 action items that I need to take that get me there? If Gavin needs to host 4 open houses to set those appointments, his activity is to host open houses, right? If I need to door knock, if I need to call my sphere for 2 hours every day, if I need to practice scripts more so that I'm more confident and that phone isn't so damn heavy, and I don't hide behind text messaging only, I'm helping people with their biggest purchase, sale, investment. I need to talk to them. Okay, if I believe this, if I stay behind nothing but written communication, I'm just like someone working at the drive-thru. They come in, they place their order, here's what I want. I go and I search for all the criteria and I'm spending all my time trying to find stuff, but I have yet to secure the business because I haven't spoken with them and I haven't figured out their motivation. And until I get your motivation, I'm gonna have a hard time. What we're trying to do, right? We're trying to be sticky. Be sticky with people that know you. And what I mean by that is, if you're sticky, when they think about real estate, they think about you. They don't think about anybody else because you're sticky. You send them enough emails, you send them enough texts, you call them, you pop by their house, you invite them to barbecues, you are in the same clubs, you go to the same events, you like the same stuff. You're sticky. That's my realtor. Back to my notes here. Nothing happens right if we don't take action. So I'm really glad that everybody's here today. But don't be a classroom agent. There's a lot of classroom agents who spend all their time educating. Educate. You can educate yourself right on out of the business. Right? And I did that for my first year. I spent all my time thinking I had to learn all this stuff. And what I had to learn was the conversation around real estate. I had to learn how to talk about real estate, how to ask really good questions. The amount of money that you make will be directly proportional to the quality of questions that you ask people. It just will be. Yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. So if you're not taking time to think about the questions that you ask people and how you engage them, you're going to be very transactional. It's like when I call somebody, this is a $1 million question I'm going to give you guys today. And it's in the PDF that's up on the screen. And it's right here. This part of the conversation up top is the Ford script, essentially. You're telling them the reason that I'm calling is because COVID made me realize that I kind of lost touch with human connection. And I wanted to reach out and check in and reconnect with you after however much time has passed. They go, oh, great, like, me too, right? That's probably what they're thinking. You go, so how's your family? How's your job going? How are your kids? What are you doing for fun? Are you doing anything for fun? You have any dreams? Okay. We have that nice conversation where we're connecting. We're connecting on a human level. It has nothing to do with real estate. And then I interrupt you. Do you mind if I ask you a question? And this is where all the magic happens, is right in that question. If you ever knew someone who was going to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, do you have a great agent that you would refer them to? Think about that question. Do you have a great agent? I'm not saying an agent. And do you have a great agent that you would refer them to? I'm essentially asking, do you have an existing relationship with a real estate agent that you would use and refer your friends and family to? I'm not asking, you need to buy or sell or invest in a house, because most normal people are worth one transaction every 12 years. And I want that transaction, great. But if I can be their resource for everyone they know, and I can incentivize them to call me and give me a referral, I'm gonna get that transaction from them. But what I really want is I wanna know, who do you know who's an influencer in their community? That's what I want. If each one of you think of the people that you know, identify that influencer. That influencer has a large group of friends, is very social, is the person that's always recommending restaurants, is the person that's always saying, did you try this restaurant when you were in Hawaii? They're always giving recommendations and referrals. It's that person who becomes my A when I build a relationship with them. You know, and here's a example of how that worked for me just recently. I talked to this guy, his kid goes to school with my kid, he owns a photography business. Takes professional headshots and helps rebrand people. That's what he does for a living. Does really good. we're talking, and his parents have a need. They own 2 homes and there's a need there, and we're talking about that. And I say to him, hey, would you make me a promotional video that I can share? I'd love to help you meet more people. Yeah. 2 days later, he sends me a promotional video that he made. Beautiful, right? High quality, great. Hey, are you networking with any other small businesses that we could get together once a month and talk about each other's business and share referrals? Yeah, in fact, I just talked to a guy 2 weeks ago. He's starting this up. Okay. Yeah, come by tomorrow. We'll grab lunch and we'll talk about how we can all network together. Okay, and I don't know how many deals this is gonna produce, but it's gonna do something. And we didn't talk about real estate. So we learn a lot of great things being real estate agents that can help small businesses. From tax strategies to sales, right, to marketing, whether it be print, email, social media. We learn stuff here that other businesses out there are not, they don't have access to it. Right, this is $1 billion business that we're in. So if I can take some of this information and share it with those people that already know me, I then become a resource for them. There's a greater likelihood that they will use me in the future and share my information with others. And there's no better people than small businesses because they use a lot of vendors. So if they use a lot of vendors, they're already in the business of sharing people's contact information. Those are the people that I want closest to me. Because if I have 20 people that give me 1 referral a year, I now have 20 potential pieces of business every year off of just these 20 people. And then I do my other activities, my open houses, my marketing, I do other things. But if I just focus on that, it will continue to grow. Right? So what I've done recently is I've shifted my perspective on the way that I connect with people. I don't make it about your transaction. I make it about how can I help your friends and family? Can I help your friends and family? Right? If you do that top part of the script, and let's say the person, yeah, my uncle's an agent. He's fantastic. That's amazing. I love to network with other great agents. What's your uncle's name? Would you mind connecting us? Love to talk to him. Maybe he joins Keller Williams. Maybe he only services San Jose. Well, what do you do when friends or family need to buy or sell in other places? All right, well, I don't have anybody up in Sacramento. Hey, I have a great team member up in Sacramento who can help you out. Would you keep me in mind if you ever hear of somebody who has a need up in Sacramento? Yeah, no problem. So just because we're so afraid to ask, do you have an agent? Why? If you have an existing relationship with an agent who's taking care of your family for however long, and you like them, I don't need your business, but I need to stop wasting my time reaching out to you. I need to find someone who needs an agent, and their friends and family need an agent. So it serves as just this ultimate tool, and I can ask the question like I've done there without putting any pressure on them. And I say to them, look, we deliver 5-star service, right? We deliver superb results, and I'm never going to pressure your friend or family member. I'm just going to learn about what they're looking for and see if I'm the right person to help. They're like, cool. And if you really want to help me out, when you're on the phone with them, if you can conference me into that call and make an introduction, I'd really appreciate it. It's not asking for the world, it's asking for a warm introduction. And what are the chances that after that warm introduction that you actually get an appointment and get to improve that relationship? Great. They don't have an agent. Great. What's your email? Hey, my email is this. Hey, fantastic. I'm going to send you an email. It's going to have all my contact information, my Facebook page, my website, email, phone number, LinkedIn, whatever you want to include, my 5-star reviews. I'm going to put the subject line for your referrals. And all you need to do is forward that email to anybody who has a need that you hear about. Could you do that for me? We have to stop giving ourselves reasons to not ask powerful questions. Right? And if you're in the, if you have a little voice right now in the back of your head going, I don't know if I could help them. That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have all the answers. Your job today, most of us that are in here, your job today is to set appointments. That's your job. Focus on setting appointments, focus on your scripts and objection handling. And you will learn all the facets of this job that you need to learn along the way. Because in 30 deals, I'll tell you what, none of them have been the same. And I've learned something new with each one of them. And if I would have spent the last 4 years trying to educate myself on all the problems that may arise during a transaction, I wouldn't have set any appointments. So if you find yourself trying to solve problems that don't exist for you today, stop doing that. So it's not a good use of your time. Your time is better spent, right? An agent only does 5 things. 5 things, right? There's scripts and objection handling. I should take that like a job. That's one thing. They lead generate. They lead follow-up. They negotiate contracts. And they go on appointments. Okay, I say it again.
Yeah, just a second, let me write it down.
Yeah.
This is all we do. Scripts and objection handling. And I'm gonna give you an example of how that should look in your world. So that you do it at a higher level. And I just told Goggin this yesterday. So this should sound familiar. Record yourself with the script. Read the script as it is written. Don't plug in a bunch of words that are not in the script. Record yourself, stand up, walk around when you read it. Say it out loud, because when you're having a conversation, you don't say it in your head. You say it out of your mouth. And you want to hear, how do you sound when you're saying it? So that you can make adjustments when needed. Practice with others. And if I'm practicing with you, we got 15 minutes. I call you and I go, you are X, and I tell you who I want you to be, and I go ring, ring. And you be that person and we practice, and then you tell me, you are an open house lead that I'm calling to follow up with, ring, ring. You are, and we work on the calls and the conversations that we're gonna have that day. Right, if I'm gonna call my SOY, you're a high school friend, I haven't talked to you in 10 years, ring, ring. And we go. Whoever you, and take it seriously. I used to think I was doing scripts practice and we'd end up talking about business. How's it going? And then you were like, oh, it's so terrible right now. I'm getting my ass kicked out here. And it was like, well, and then we just spent like 20 minutes literally talking ourselves out of doing the thing that we were supposed to be pumping ourselves up to go do. And if you have a script partner and they keep changing the schedule on you, or they're not showing up, or they keep taking you off topic, find another script partner. They're not the person who's gonna help move you forward. Find people that wanna take this part very seriously. And for most of it, it's very awkward, okay? So lead generation, did you have a question?
No,
Okay, lead generation is number 2. And lead generation, we could talk up for lead generation for the whole hour plus on all the different ways you can lead generate. What I encourage you to do with lead generation is find 1 or 2 lanes to drive in. Or communities of people that you want to lead generate with, who are like you, who like to do the same things you like to do. And then your only goal, lead generation, is to go have conversations with those people. Right? Big word, conversation. Not a text, not an email, not a conversation could be through DM, right? On social media, it could be through text, but it's always gonna be stronger face to face. From there, it's always gonna be stronger on a video conference call. And then from there, a telephone call, And then way down here, 4 or 5 is a text, and then maybe an email, right? So negotiate contracts, that's number 3. So I gotta do the lead generation, if I'm gonna get to that stage. Lead follow-up. Lead follow-up. Do I have a tracking system to do appropriate lead follow-up? If I've been hosting open houses for 6 months, and I've got 50 open house leads, I'm going to call those people every week until they tell me to stop calling them. I'm not gonna stop, because guess what? Sometimes a year later, 18 months later, hey, thanks for following up so much. Things changed, life got busy, whatever may have happened. I just wanna be attempting to be sticky with them. That's it. Attempt to be there. But if I don't have a structured process to do my lead follow-up, what happens? I reach out for 1 week after the open house, and then I never call them again. And they may exist in my CRM, and I might have them on a monthly call plan or whatever. But is it true lead follow-up? Because a professional salesperson definitely has a system for lead follow-up. They have Edward saying in this office, 2 days a week are lead follow-up days. The other 3 days are lead generate days. And then the next week, he goes the opposite. 3 days lead follow-up, 2 days lead generate. And most of his business is closed through open house lead that he just never lets go. He just stays on them. It stays on them, and stays on them. And they'll tell you, stop calling me. They'll tell you, then you can remove them. But that's our job. Go on appointments. Are we going on appointments? Are we asking for appointments? And all this stuff is like, it's very generic, and you could read it and go, okay, if you read it and go, now how do I do it? Then you have to solve that problem, right? And you have to go find the resources that you need to solve that problem. And because we're all independent contractors here, no one's gonna solve it for you, right? Until you go and seek that information that you need to be that valuable resource out in your community that people start looking at as, this is my person. This is my guy, this is my girl, this is my person who's gonna help me solve these problems when it comes to real estate. And if you really become a resource, you solve problems that don't involve real estate. Like a plumber, like a roofer. How about not even with the home? How about like an attorney? How about like a financial planner or a accountant? Do you have allied resources that you can share with people? Because I promise you, if I give my attorney a couple of referrals and I call my attorney and I ask, hey, what do you do when you come across somebody who has a home that they need to sell? They're either gonna tell you they have an agent that they refer all their clients to like that, or I can refer them to you. And if they can't refer them to you and you're giving them business, maybe it's time to have a conversation with somebody else who can make it a reciprocal relationship. Find people that you can do that with. Right? To me, that's the strategy for me. My strategy is to find my top 100 who I call every month. And the guy who coaches me, he has a top 300. He makes 10 phone calls, talks to 10 people 30 days every month about their referrals.
Yeah, assistant.
Huh?
Yeah, assistant.
Yeah. Yeah. Just gotta, this lead generation thing, this comes before everything. If you get into your phone and you're on your email and you're in social media and you're doing all this other stuff and you haven't lead generated yet, your day is off the trail. Nothing happens before I lead generate. And I wish this was true every day for me. It's not, right? But if I could draw an ideal blueprint, it would be. If I wanted the maximum amount of business I could have, it would be. Yeah, and I have it in my notes here. Best practices for each of the jobs of an agent. Nothing happens before lead generating and lead follow-up. Nothing else happens. Okay? If you can own your schedule right, you're gonna own your day. And not all of us, a lot of us get into real estate because we want to work for ourselves, we want the flexibility, we want all this stuff, and we don't really know how to manage our time. We don't know how to prioritize. Therefore, I need to listen to somebody who's further ahead, who has shown some success, and go like, can I just do that? You know, I've talked to a lot of agents in various levels of their career. And at the beginning, I find the agents who have the most success can turn off that little voice in the back of their head that says like, you don't know enough. And just go out and be coachable and just do what's in front of them. If the thing that's in front of me today is to go door knock 100 doors and to show up trained and ready to have conversations with people at the door and provide value, that's a successful day. It doesn't matter if only 4 people open their door and 3 of them slam the door in your face. You went out there and you took action and you were prepared. And the more you do it, time on task over time, the more you do it, the better you're gonna be, the better the outcome. Okay? Don't hold yourself back because you don't know how to answer these 4 questions that are in the back of your mind. How many houses have you sold? Oh, I don't know. You sold a lot. I can help you. Nobody's asking you that question, but we're afraid of it, right? It's like the boogeyman when we were a kid.
If someone asks, how many homes have you sold? What is the answer? How many of them?
My team sold 6 homes
Oh,
up here.
Well,
But here's the thing is, you've spent a lot of time thinking about how to answer that question that never comes. And therefore it prevents you from moving forward and having good conversations, because now you're disengaging from conversations that you should be having because of the fear of this question. Or any other question, exactly.
unfortunately, all my buyers ask this question.
Maybe it's time to find new buyers. Are they still letting you write offers? Are you writing offers for these buyers? Not a trick question.
No,
Okay, well then I need to find new buyers. I'm just not having enough conversations, right? The world is just a mathematical equation, right? And if I'm not getting the results that I want, I need to do more. I need to have more conversations, right? If I'm not hitting my appointment goal, I need to have more conversation. If I'm not selling as many homes as I want, I need to have more. It all goes back to how many relationships you have. But then that's where we go to the scripts and the objection handling and go, are you having good conversations? Are you asking them questions that move them into the future? Or are you asking them questions that keep them in the past? Because my job is to ask you questions to move you forward. And if I have a conversation with you and all we do is talk about poor you and your family's shitty and things aren't working out for you, and you know, when you were in high school, you were bullied, and you know, the dog just died, and we're not moving anywhere. We can't make a decision. We live in Pittyville. What are your hopes and dreams? What do you want to accomplish? You know, is there any information I could provide you that could be useful for you? You know, do you have any goals for this year? You know, what do you plan to do with mom's house? Have you guys thought about that? Would you be open to the idea of me coming over and talking to your mom and making sure that the house is a safe place for her to live? Right, so I'm getting trained in the real estate planner group by the guy Dan Ahara over in Hawaii. And right now the focus is on senior relocation. Right, well, who owns the majority of the homes? They're seniors, right? and who is in need of transition, right? They're transitioning, right? None of us are getting out alive, okay? But how can you help to take care of mom, dad, the adult children? Do they have a trust in place? Do they, right? Like, that's how I become a resource. I don't talk about, you need a new roof to sell this house, or let's do some landscaping. I say, hey, does your mom have a trust in place? Do you guys know anything about probate? I have a great trust attorney who can help set a trust up for you. It's $1,500. It will save your family $20,000. You know, something. If there's a married couple and one person passes, right, and they've lived in the house for 30 or 40 years, they get a step up cost basis, right? And now they could sell that home without paying the capital gains tax. The capital gains tax would be $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. But they might not know that this exists, and they're thinking, I don't want to sell because of capital gains tax, or I don't want to sell because there's too much stuff in my house and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Is there a senior community around here that might be a better place for me? You know, how do I remove this burden from their adult children? Do they have adult children? Who are they? Where do they live? What are they doing? Do they have kids? Right? You see, when I start to have these conversations, I get a full picture. And when I get the full picture, I can provide solutions to real problems. Right? That's the deal. That's the deal. If you want to be the go-to person, you got to get to know the whole story. You know, people are getting older, right? People are living longer now than they ever have in the history of the world. So this population is only going to get larger and larger. And they have needs, right? If you can go in and just, hey, would you like me to come by, evaluate the house and make sure that it's safe for you? Maybe I can just come and take all the shit that's up here in your kitchen that you can't reach anymore, that you have to get on that little footstool for. Can I come and can I just move it into a better place? Can I have someone come over and help declutter your garage? You know, so that you don't trip. When's the last time you've been upstairs? I've been upstairs in 4 or 5 years. Cause I'm afraid I'm gonna fall. You know, would downsizing make sense for you now? You know, it's these conversations where you get to come in and be somebody that can help. And when you help, you're gonna get a nice return if you can come in and just help people. And to be honest, it feels good, right? Transactions will follow. You take care of people and make them feel supported. They trust you. And once you have trust, then you just have to ask the correct questions to get introduced to the right people who are going to be the decision makers, and you can help them. You know, a story about that. I grew up with this family, known them since I was a kid. Mom and dad are getting old. Brother and sister don't speak anymore. They were best friends. Don't talk anymore. Daughter is beside herself because she doesn't know why the brother quit talking to her. They used to live together for 10 years. And he got married, and you know, it's probably the wife doesn't want that relationship. Who knows? I go to coffee with her. She's the executor of their trust. And mom and dad are getting older, and she's worried. She's worried because when they die, she knows she's gonna have to fight with her brother about that house. So a good question to ask people: have you ever heard of people fighting about real estate after mom and dad are gone? And almost everybody has heard of these situations. So when they say yes to that question, are you open to having a conversation on how we can eliminate those family disputes? Because how we can eliminate them is we can go in and make sure that the trust is amended. If obviously mom and dad or mom or dad are okay with amending that trust, so we can eliminate this family dispute. We can do that by saying within 6 months of my passing, the home has to be sold. Nothing to argue about now, right? Because if you guys are brother and sister, and that's your house now, because mom and dad just died, and you wanna move in and you wanna sell it. What are we gonna do? We're at a stalemate. Okay, are we gonna evaluate the property? Can you buy her out? I don't know. Well, how do we eliminate this? You know, and these sort of like family dispute conversations are better when we're talking about really wealthy individuals. People that own multiple properties. Because here's a strategy. You have an investment property and you have one investment property and you have 4 or 5 kids. If it makes sense, are you open to exploring the idea? Would you like to bless your children now? Why don't we sell this house, do an exchange, and let each of your 3 children pick out the replacement property? You see how that could benefit the family? No, nothing to fight about now. They all picked their houses. I got to sell a house. Maybe I got to help them buy. I mean, I got a referral. I mean, a lot of good things can happen with that. And now it's not just about, I'm a greedy real estate agent trying to make a dime. I just came in and helped your whole family. And now mom or dad, they might be worried about this stuff. Maybe one of the kids, if not all, good, don't have to worry about that. If we're talking about continued care in home can cost you $250,000 a year. If you need 24-hour care, $30,000 a month. Well, the kids, they probably want mom and dad to go to a senior community and pay $10,000 a month because they're worried about their inheritance. Could be, right? Because money makes people do funny shit. So am I able to come in and have those conversations as a neutral third party and help that the wishes are actually executed on? Right? If I can do that, I'm gonna win, right? And maybe this is some way out there talk for some of us and where we're at today. But what I want you to take away from it is how do you show up as somebody who cares about providing value to people that you're around? Because my listing presentation now is not like it was before. Here's my marketing, here's the fees, here's the comps. Hey, every fucking agent they interview is gonna come in and do that. But if we can come in and do a capital gains assessment, we come in and we talk about their family and where they're going, what their hopes and dreams are. The marketing and the sale of, what do you think? What do you think your home's worth? Let them tell us. They have an idea, most of them. Okay, we'll work with those numbers. Now we have that conversation first, which is about them and their financial well-being. The sale is gonna come naturally. And they're probably not gonna balk at the 6%. Because now we're providing solutions. And to be honest, if it makes more sense for somebody to move and rent that property and use that income to do whatever they're doing next, and we get a property management company in place, and maybe later we sell, that's a fine solution too. Because if you take care of someone like that, and you make it known that you work on a referral basis, I only work with people that are referred to me by my clients. So I would appreciate it if you ever heard of somebody who's looking to buy, sell, or invest, that you could introduce them to me. Here's the email. Could you forward it to them? Could you conference me on a call? Hey, no problem. Thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for getting a property management company. Thank you. This stuff works. So if you look at the notes, there's a buy box that that I think is an awesome conversation around your buyers for ways to show up a little bit differently. And a lot of us are having these conversations already, but we might not have a place to put the information. And the beauty of having a buy box, once I have, so this is done obviously, right? at a strategy session, which I like to call them because it sounds less. I don't wanna go to an appointment. But if you're like, how about a home buying strategy session? I'm all, okay, that sounds very non-pressury. I think I'll do that. But then in these strategy sessions, I'm gonna build this, excuse me, I can't talk right now. Your buy box, and we're gonna put down all the things that matter to you. And now I actually have a tool to pick up the phone and call into these areas and say, I have a buyer who'd love to live in your neighborhood. Have you considered selling your home in the next 6 to 12 months? And now and I'm not bullshitting. If somebody says yes, I share that address and we try to make a deal happen. Now the buyer goes, damn, this agent's out there doing something for me that other agents aren't doing. It allows me to have conversations with potential sellers, which is a valuable tool. And having your information stored in a way where it's easy to access. I mean, buyers are easier to have consultations with at this stage than most sellers. And now I really get to have a powerful conversation, right? Features. So what features do they want? What are their must-haves? What do they really want? Let's have a deeper 3-bedroom, 2-bath, this square footage, great. Okay, everybody can do that. But when we get into the wish list and the features, that's where we're gonna make a difference. And even more than that, right, when we get into the purpose of the home. What's the purpose?
That's it.
What's the purpose? You know, so my neighbor, I wanna share this with you guys, cause it's the first time in 4 years that I actually felt like something I did in this business really mattered, other than bringing income to me. And I got this text from a buyer. I can't even convey how much I appreciate all that you've done for me and my family. Your patience, knowledge, honesty, and friendship, all of it means so much to me. You're an incredible person, and we are beyond lucky to have your support for our home buying journey. It still doesn't feel real, but once things fall into place, I can't wait to celebrate and sing your praises to everyone I know.
Wow.
Right, it was like that was like, I literally sat there and was like, I didn't know how to take it, right? Like, I'm not the best at taking compliments, and I was like, wow, that really mattered to them. It really mattered how I showed up. And they got the house under contract on Monday. It's just a big deal, right? Like, that's a big deal, right? And going back to like celebrating successes, like celebrate, right? I get to go. But the reason she said I'm gonna sing your praises is I let her know from the beginning. I work on a referral basis. I planted that seed early. I didn't say it like, you gotta give me your.
How do you put it?
I just said, I work on a referral basis, and everyone I work with comes referred to me by someone that I know and trust. So if I do a good job for you, I'd really appreciate it if you kept me in mind when you heard of somebody looking to buy or sell real estate. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be shiny, but the seed needs to be planted. It needs to be, because most individuals don't work in referral businesses. Most people don't, so they don't know how to do it. That's why when I talk to you, it comes with an email. Forward this email whenever you hear of somebody. Cause I wanna make it real easy for them. The easier I can make it for you to refer me business, the easier it is, right? You ever wanna give a referral to somebody, you heard of something, and then you go look in your phone to try and figure out, who was that person? Or let me find their number, and then you're like sending a text and introducing them, and it's just kind of sloppy and messy. Instead of like, hey, what's the best email for you? I want to introduce you to my agent, and then I just forward them this email. Pretty easy. That's pretty easy, and I gotta make things easy for people. If they're gonna give me what I want, so I'd suggest taking this form and making copies. And when you have appointments. These are your talking points, right? We can spend a lot of time, as I'm sure a lot of us have, in building presentations. Right, or having Kelsey build presentations, and they look beautiful. And they're an amazing resource to have you show up like a professional, but it's not the presentation that's gonna secure you the business. It's the conversation, okay? We don't have a whole lot of time. Does anyone have any questions before I get into the last slide here? Anybody online still awake? Okay, so. Let's see. This is in your handout. I don't know how I can make it bigger, but anyway, this is a document that I can process what the capital gains look like, right? And I preface it by saying I'm not a CPA. So we're gonna check these numbers with your CPA to make sure that they're accurate. But if I go in and I'm looking at somebody's financial well-being, it allows me to have a conversation when I go, who is your CPA? They go, I don't have one. Great, I have a great CPA, I'd love to introduce you. Let's make sure that everything that we think is gonna happen after the sale of this home actually happens. Great, right? And that allows me to show up different. I'm showing up as a planner now, right? So this is for the capital gains tax assessment. And then there's another one, which is called an asset performance test. So if I call you and you're an investor, would you like an asset performance test to make sure that your property is performing at or above market level? Because they might not know, right? A lot of landlords, they're sick of trash, they're sick of tenants, and they're sure as hell sick of toilets. The triple T, right? And if they're sick of those things, they might sell, right? And if I can have a conversation, here, are these things a problem for you? Yeah, they are. How about an asset performance test and we make sure the property is performing at or above market value? They go, that would be terrific. And then I send them a sheet that has all the information that I need. The income that the property generates and all of the expenses, everything. And then we determine whether they're making enough money or if we can show them a way to make more money, they're probably gonna say yes to selling, right? If I can go, okay, this property is generating you an income of $1,000 a month. There are some great investments up in Sacramento that we can exchange your property for, and those will generate you $2,500 a month. And we have a property management team up there that can help manage that property for you. Is that something that you're open to looking at? We just want them to say yes, that they're open to looking at it, right? And notice, I didn't get, are you open to looking at it by mistake? I got it because I studied scripts. I got it because I practiced. And it's everyone wants to think of themselves as being open-minded. So if I just use, are you open to exploring this? Who wants to go, no, no, I'm not open to that, right? Like, most people don't. So this is where the scripts and the objection handling come into play. So that you can just say these things, because this is just how you talk now. This is how you talk, right? You know, would you be offended? I love that one. You write that one down. Would you be offended? Would you be offended if I sent you a home valuation? Would you be offended if I sent you some properties up in San Carlos that might be a good fit for you and your family? Would you be offended if I gave you a call next month and checked in on you? They're like, yes, I would be offended. How dare you? Right? You know, but I think this is what separates just someone who's gonna bump along in this real estate world versus somebody that's gonna grow and build a real career, right? It is in the questions that you ask people. It is so important. It is so important, and if you don't have a good resource for that stuff, they're all over the place. But again, it comes back to taking action with it. Cause I spent 3 years in this business thinking that I was a good talker and I didn't need your scripts. Those sounded too salesy, they didn't sound like me. And what I found is that once I took them in internally, I could use these scripts in conversation and it came across very natural and it allowed me to ask my money-making questions. Because before I was having great conversations, but there was no commitment. There was no commitment for me to call you. There was no commitment for you to introduce me to your friends and family. There was no commitment for you to come to my open house or for you to join my email list, or the list goes on. But you liked me. You liked me enough to wave at me every time you saw me. But that was it. And then my mind shifted and now I'm out walking my dogs. And if I stop and talk, hey, what's your email? What's your phone number? Mind if are you open to me staying in contact with you? Would you be offended if I sent you a market update? A lot of the neighbors here, I send them market updates. It's really helpful. You get to see what's happening in your neighborhood. They're all, yeah, no problem. Great. I'd love to see that stuff. I look on Zillow all the time anyway. Cool. Now I got your email. I already know where you live. Now I can do a pop by. Hey, here's a bag of candy. It's Halloween. So good to see you. Thinking about selling? You know, I don't want to be that guy, but I do want to pop by. I don't want them to feel comfortable with me. I do want them to like me. I want them to know my phone number. So I hope that this was helpful. That script, that question that I shared. I truly believe that if you take action on this right here, you will have a really good October. But it only counts if you do that with enough people. That's it, right? I gotta take the action. So I'll leave you with this. If you haven't done this already, you take everybody out of your phone and you get with Kelsey and you get all those numbers uploaded into Command. Okay? And then you go through and you call everybody in your phone. Everybody gets a phone call unless you really hate them. And the only reason they're in your phone is so that you don't answer the phone if they call you. But other than that, they get a call from you. I don't care if they live wherever in the world that they live, they get a call from you. And this is the script you use. And your goal is to take that number of contacts in your phone and to whittle it down to the people that give you permission to stay in contact with them month over month. Because those are your cheerleaders. Right? And once you've got that established, that list is going to grow from there. And now you got 500 contacts and you just whittled it down to 24 people said, yes, I will. Those 24 people better hear from you every month. They better get invited to go golfing with you or to go to a restaurant or to have a drink or to go to coffee or whatever, because those are your cheerleaders and you take really good care of them. And then after you establish that relationship, you say, hey, my business is built on referrals. Do you think you'd be able to give me one referral every 5 years? Most people say yes. Hey, fantastic. I'm really going to count on you to do that because my business is built on referrals. And for every referral you get me that closes, I'm going to reward you with a $500 gift to say thank you. Who doesn't want a $500 gift? Right? And most people will say yes. And now I've groomed them to tell them my business is built on referrals. And I expect, Gavin, that you give me a referral, one referral every 5 years. And if that list grew to 300 people that said yes to my 1 in 5, I'm selling 60 houses a year on these 300 people. That's some life-changing money and that's a life-changing business. And maybe, just maybe, if that was my singular focus, my business would grow at a pretty good clip after 3, 4, 5 months of me doing this very intentional. But be intentional, I would say, do less better than doing more. Like identify where you wanna do, what lane you're gonna drive in, your 1 or 2 lead generating lanes. And just go out there and make things happen, and if you don't know what to do to make those things happen, ask somebody what they did. And the last thing I'm gonna say is if you go and ask somebody what they did, you have to then go and take action. Because if you go around the office and you ask 10 people what they did and you hear 10 different things, you're gonna be in the same position you were before. And to be honest, those 10 people are gonna go, why'd I even bother having that conversation? You didn't take action on it. Because they wanna see you be successful. If they're gonna take the time to talk to you, they wanna see you go out there and take action. So we're not just consuming information for the sense of consumption. Take action on it. It all works if you work it. But right now, everyone that I see in here, your job is to get through your contacts on your phone and just ask them that question. That's simple. We just need to find some cheerleaders. Some people that are gonna give us referrals, some influencers in our community that are gonna help us grow a good business. So. That is all today. You can all email me, call me, whatever you wanna talk. My part two. Yeah, we'll talk to Eric about a part 2 and I think that this is a really good, if you can get through your phone and make all those calls. Good things will start happening. Don't worry about, maybe I'm not sure of how I'm gonna show up during the appointment. Don't worry, you're not there yet. You'll be there. They'll tell you what they want. You'll nod and go, I can do that. Great, sure. You ready to get started? Okay, that's it. Have a good day. Bye, everybody online.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thanks.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
Not regarding